Hello, friends. I think you guys aren't going to see me for like a good 30 seconds or so. So I'm just going to wait here until you guys notice I'm on. But I'm going to do a little roll call first. I do this on Twitch. How long did that take? 17 seconds. So that's a 17-second delay between you and me. Actually longer. Yeah, longer depending on how long, like since when it has been since you tuned in. It's like a 25-second delay over here, but then over here it's like a 17-second delay. It's so weird. Anyway, roll call. Who's here? Amir? And you're getting a new flute, right? Oriana, Melanie, Caleb. Yes, I remember you. Hey, Marv, Jaden. Let's see. Claire, you got a new Gemeinhardt 3SB today. Oh, congratulations. You and Amir both getting new flutes. Magic Monkichi, what's up? Oh man, I so want some ramen and egg. My husband and I like almost took out a pan to fry an egg to put on top of our stir fry today, but then we kind of ran out of time, so we decided not to do that. I want that fried egg though. So Jaden, yeah, I did say hello to you. Who else is here? Holy crap! Oh, whoa! Suddenly the chat went crazy. Okay, let's see. Claire, you grabbed 5 snacks and ran into your room. You guys are so great. Marv, you gave up on school since it was canceled. Oh, if I may, I'll come back to that in a bit. I'll share with you guys some of my thoughts about, you know, the whole online school thing. Let's see. La 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 la. David is here, unsphered. Hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm seeing all of my Twitch peeps here. This is great. How do you teach 5th graders? Oh, that is a great question. Hello, Darcy. How are you doing? Okay, so I know, right on at my planned time for today. Aren't you guys proud? And the microphone was on, and you guys can hear me, and my studio lights are on. Like, whoa, what is happening with Joanna? Anyway, so Marv, I wanted to kind of cycle back to what you said about giving up on school. I get it. I get that it's June now and it's the end of school, and you know, for some of you school has already ended, but I just thought I would share with you that some things to consider. So I'm not saying that you should, you know, that I'm not trying to lecture you or anything like that, but so this semester has been really tough on both teachers and students, especially when it comes to online schooling, because it's just such a new way of teaching and education. And, you know, teachers are still getting used to the technology, and then students as well have to also get used to the technology. But I would argue that for the most part, most students can get around technology and chatting platforms and things like that a little bit more easily than a lot of teachers, just because you guys are a younger generation. That's all. You guys are just more used to it. And something to consider is that you guys were all kind of thrown under the bus by COVID. So I know I'm probably not supposed to say that on YouTube, but I said it. Oh well. So for you guys, there have been a lot of concerns among teachers for your development. So they kind of don't know how to keep your brains engaged and learning. So there's a few things that they're worried about. They're worried about you guys falling behind when school does start up again. And, you know, with you guys falling behind, because a lot of school stuff is cumulative. So what you learn in one grade carries you through into another grade. And so if you fall behind, that can be pretty bad. It can just kind of lead into this domino effect. My mom has always warned me about this domino effect because it happened to her for math. And so she always told me that, like, you know, if I didn't understand something, I really needed to ask until I understood. Ask and listen until I understood. And so that's one thing that a lot of teachers are really, really concerned for you guys. The other thing is your literal physical brain development. So this is, it's not just keeping up with work, but the development of your brain, you know, a lot of it is kind of molded through how you learn and what you learn at school. And, you know, since they're so far removed from you now, they're not in the same classroom as you. You know, they're kind of at their wits' end on how to keep your brain physically developing. So what I've been telling my own students is, you know, I know that they're putting a lot of work on you guys, and it's kind of not really, it's not really clear how much of it is, you know, required and how much is not. But I always tell people, like, they're kind of doing this because they kind of need to show results that you guys are still learning to their higher ups. But they can't control you either. So, and a lot of people are realizing how ineffective a lot of online teaching is, especially if the parents at home are not involved. So the most successful students right now in this current age are students that are effectively homeschooled by their parents. And so what I've been telling my students is, make a schedule for yourself similar to how when you used to go to school. Get up, do your homework, give yourself a lunch break, or maybe like a 10 to 15 minute break every hour, and then give yourself a lunch break, go back to work, a little break every hour, so almost like a work day. And then you can unwind in the evening. And then, you know, basically just suck it up, get your work done, make a schedule for yourself to get that work done and send it in, if only to just comfort your teachers that your brain is still developing. So yeah, that's what I've been telling people. So it does kind of make me kind of worried for you when you kind of very jokingly say that, like, you know, oh, I just gave up on school because whatever, you know. Yeah, I'm worried for you. I'm worried for your development. So it's a lot more than just, oh, they're putting a lot of work on me, how dare they? And it's not that. They're really kind of grasping at straws right now to try and keep your brain engaged. And so some teachers will give you too much work because they're trying to keep you engaged. Some teachers will end up not giving you a lot of work because they're also giving up. They just don't know what to do. So yeah, I thought I'd share that with you guys just to, you know, like just to give you, I guess, a different perspective on the same thing. But yeah. Yeah, so, you know, obviously I'm seeing how you guys are talking about how you guys can go a little bit overboard with it, you know, but yeah, so anyway. Oh, Magic Monkichi, you're level 98 now on Charles. You are almost like cap level now. Wow, amazing. Unsphered Wings, you also got a new flute. Dijao 201, beautiful. Lovely. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that because I would feel very irresponsible if I didn't. No, I totally wasn't expecting to go on that tangent, but there was a different thing that I wanted to chat with you guys about. So you guys have probably noticed that the title of this particular stream is More Kohler Opus 66 Sight Reading. Very weirdly specific, right? And it's because I've been doing a little bit of thinking over the last week or so. Yes, that's true. Exactly what Darcy says. You will never stop learning. Hey, Hotaru! I got the email. And I just haven't had the chance yet to respond. I was reading through it though between lessons. Hey Mina, what's up? So yeah, I thought I would let you guys know what I was thinking over the last week. To be completely honest with you guys, I do not think that I can continue doing the sight reading sessions in exactly the way I have been, which is to take the requests from you guys straight from the chat. I have found myself very much enjoying already having a list and then just going by that list and then not having to like constantly look at the chat to see what the next thing is to sight read. The other thing is that when I get you guys to tell me to sight read something from the chat, it ends up, unfortunately, encouraging a lot of spam. And I have realized that besides you guys telling me to go live, I don't like spam. Okay? I mean, I like canned spam that you fry, okay, to go with your ramen, but I don't like text spam. It kind of covers up the conversation that you guys are having with each other. It's very disruptive, and it makes me feel almost attacked, if that makes sense. So I don't want to encourage spam to happen in the chat. So I am thinking I'm going to experiment with a few different places that you guys can go to basically just input your request, not during a stream. And then it'll basically build a list for me to just look at when I do a sight reading session. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Yeah. So you guys see, my Twitch peeps know what I'm talking about when the whole spamming, like over and over, like play this song, play this song, Joanna, play this song, sight read this song. I can't deal with it. I can't. Okay. So if I see spam like that in the chat, you will be removed from the chat. I have actually already done it before. I just never said it live, unless it was someone. I think someone spammed poop in the chat before, which I thought was kind of weirdly kind of funny for spam. But yeah, if you guys repeat yourselves too much and you are disrupting the conversation that you guys are having with each other, I will remove you from the chat. Okay? So I felt that my way of asking for sight reading requests was encouraging spam rather than discouraging it. So I'm changing it up. So for today, we will just continue reading through the Kohler because that is on the list to sight read through. And so conveniently, it will buy me a bit of time to figure out what's a good kind of centralized location for you guys to send all your requests to, not during a live stream. Does that sound good? Mina, you got stressed just listening to that. Yeah, you can imagine basically like when I'm looking at the chat and if I'm seeing the same thing over and over and over again, that's what it feels like to me. Hey, Elrain, how are you doing? Yeah. I have also been considering getting some mods too. But I kind of need to look into that, and I'm assuming I'm handpicking the mods for this. And they would have to be available for when I do stream. So, you know, I'll figure it out, guys. Right now, I'm not such a huge stream that like the chat's just going like this, you know? When I feel that the chat is starting to get out of control, I think that's when I might slow down the chat, because you can slow down the chat and then I'll also look for some mods too. So, yeah. So, yeah, I was thinking a Google form too. So I would love some sort of automated way of like people can fill out this form and then it like automatically syncs it to a list. If that was automated, that would be amazing. So I'm not sure. So I still need to kind of look into that and see where would be a good place to do that. But see, I like the chat the way it is right now, right? I love how you guys are like talking to each other, having fun, and there's no this kind of like crazy like play this, play this, play this. So for those of you who are here right now and have heard me, the thing is, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now, okay? So help me, okay? If you guys see someone start to spam a request, help me warn them that they will be removed if they continue spamming the request. The thing is, I will see them continuing, and if they continue, no worries, I will remove them. Okay, so if you guys can help me out, that would be fantastic. In the same way that I asked you guys to help me out by typing go live in the live chat if I don't actually go live. Okay, yeah. Car goes toot. Yeah, so if you guys can help me out, that would be fantastic, because I do know that a lot of people will come into these live streams and these chats not knowing how we like to run our live stream. So a lot of people will see me playing a flute and be like, oh, instantly, I'm just going to request something right now. So I am not taking any requests from the chat anymore. So if you guys do see a request, let them know that I'm setting up a some sort of form, right? Like a Google form type thing. We'll see if the Google form can like sync into like a list automatically. I'm not sure if it will do that, but we'll see. I need to do a bit of research, okay? So help me out, guys. Thank you. All right. So today we are doing Kohler. My German is very bad. My French and my German is awful. Okay. So, but we're doing more Kohler Opus 66 Romantic Etudes. I believe I did make a note that last time we made it to number 13. So we finished up number 13, and we're going to start with number 14 today. It is our live stream though, right? Because it's like that time I did not press go live, okay? And I was just talking to myself. That's not a live stream. A live stream is only a live stream if there are other people watching the live stream, you know? So, yeah. That's a good idea, Melanie. That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. That I will. Here's the thing. It was like I kind of wanted to like discuss it with you guys and see what you guys said before I like made it like super suddenly really official. So okay, Melanie, I like your idea of adding it to the welcome screen. So let me just put this note here. So add to welcome screen. No requests will be taken from chat. If requests are spammed in the chat, you will be removed. Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you. I have added that to my notes here, so I remember to do that. That's a fantastic idea. Great. Oh, David Eric Ramos has public request, puts it into a separate list. Oh, I'll definitely look that up. Public request. Okay. So I'll put in here, look into public request. Okay, very cool. I'll look that up. Yeah. Amir. Should I have a shirt that just says play this, play this, play this, play this, and just have like this person be like, should I do that? I should also have a Dance Monkey Dance shirt. What do you say? Yeah? Because I keep addressing that. The thing is, my type of personality just cannot stand Dance Monkey Dance. Like I cannot stand it. It just completely dehumanizes me. Like I feel like a doormat when people do that, you know, which is why I'm kind of like I'm just taking it out of the chat entirely. I'm not taking requests from chat anymore. You'd buy it? Play this, play this, play this. Okay, I should have a shirt that says play this, play this, play this. And then I should have a shirt Should I have a shirt that says no spamming? Except for, and then like we could put like the canned spam. No spam except spam. Right? Should we do that? Yeah. So, yeah, and dance monkey dance. Yeah, I should. Yeah, deal. You know, someone had the idea of making a face mask, which is like just your embouchure with a flute, like a flute head joint. Someone was saying so, I think, on Twitch. Yeah, random flute knowledge never hurt anybody. I should also have Big Burger with a side of poutine. Oh, you guys are great. So, see, this is the type of chat that I really enjoy. This gives me joy. This gives me energy. This just like revives my soul. Okay. So this is the kind of chat that I like. I like in the last few sight reading sessions. Oh, the spam was getting real, man. Like I was like, I can't deal. Like, do you guys notice those moments when I get really quiet? Do you guys notice those moments when I go like this? I'm gonna act like myself, okay? This is what I do when I remove someone. Now you know what I'm doing when I do that. Okay? I'm removing someone from the chat when I'm doing that. So, you know. Oh, you guys would buy my merch. I'm so glad. So I'm still kind of working out my days off and figuring out what to do because there's a lot of stuff I have to catch up with. So yeah, you know, so now you guys know that's what I do. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not the only one who felt that then. The last YouTube live stream was hard. I feel so. I like the last YouTube live stream chat. The chat was real difficult last time. It was just a whole lot of no. Hey Juana, how are you doing? So yeah, so that's why I decided, you know what? We're gonna come into this live stream today with me just fully explaining to you how I feel about spam in the chat. Also, now I realize you guys hate it too, right? Like I felt like I could not have been the only one who hated how spammy the chat got, you know? So, you know, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like we need to, as a community, need to put a stop to it. So yeah, Magic Monkey G, you stayed silent. See, the people that I actually want to talk are just completely drowned out by all these people just dance monkey dancing, you know, into the chat. Like I can't, man. See, normally guys, I try not to call you guys out, you know, like I try not to because I'm trying to make the stream about the stream, right? Not about like, you know, the spammers. But like it's happened enough now that I'm like, nuh-uh, I need to take back control of my own live stream. I need to give you guys the voice that I want you guys to have. Yeah. So, you know. Yeah, it's okay. So basically, I'm just saying, you know, if you type the same thing over and over in the chat, you will be removed because I do see it and it drowns out the conversation that everyone else is trying to have. Okay. No more requests from the chat. I will set up some sort of Google form and stuff like that. If I receive spam from the Google form as well, if something is requested over and over and over again, that will also be removed from the list and whoever is spamming that will be blocked. Okay. So spam is basically just, will not be tolerated anymore. It's just, once I see someone starting to spam, you're gone. Okay. I did that to someone last stream. So, usually I issue out a warning, but now this is the warning. Okay. So yeah. Otaru. Oh, I love you. Emily, you also don't like spam because it sensory overloads you. That's a great way of saying it. I would say, here's the thing. I will not even profess to say that I even understand what sensory overload truly feels like, but I have been susceptible to panic attacks before. There was one particularly huge panic attack that I have experienced, and I have experienced a few smaller ones before, and it was something to do with too much of something. So, you know, but it certainly feels that way because it's kind of like it's just this one thing that's just constantly hammering you, and I can't. Yeah. Lauren, that is so sweet of you to say that I'm not your elementary school teacher. It's kind of like how my mom told me that she could not stand it when me and my brother would be like, mom, 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 mom. Okay, that is spam IRL. Okay, you gotta put a stop to it. I know that my mom has legitimately lectured my brother and I on why you don't do that. So, you know, every time someone spams the chat, the song Dance Monkey Dance should just come on in the background. If only I knew how to do that. That would be hilarious. That would just be a hilarious way to call someone out. So, yeah, my mom taught my brother and I very early on why you don't say a person's name over and over and over and over again. And now I know she was teaching us not to spam. Yeah. Darcy, you get panic attacks when there's too much noise, like especially high-pitched noises or loud noises. Yep. How many pokes does it take? Should I have another shirt that just says mom, 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 mom? See, here's the thing. I don't believe that all spammers are young, Scott. I don't believe that all spammers are young. I do know though that some people just don't have a very developed way of getting someone's attention with an intelligent comment or question. And, you know, unfortunately, some people just have a very like undeveloped, like way of getting someone's attention. It's just very undeveloped. It's, and it's unfortunate. But I don't necessarily want to shame people for being undeveloped. That's wrong. But at the same time, you kind of have to put your foot down and be like, point out that it is wrong and that is not the way they should go about it. And hopefully they learn, Unfortunately, for most people, for most spammers, at least online, they're usually some form of troll. So, you don't want to feed the trolls, but at the same time, I'm starting to realize that some of the people who are trying to get my attention here are not actually trolls. That's why I decided to address it. So I was like, I don't think I'm actually feeding the trolls. I think that this is a teaching moment to let those people know that, you're causing me to shut down, and that is not what you should do in a social setting, because this is a social setting. Yeah. It is partly an empathy thing. Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's true, El Rain. It is an empathy thing. Hey, Miguel. Haven't seen you in a while. Miguel, I'm sure everyone will catch you up on it too, but I am putting a stop to spam in the chat with your help. So what happened in the last live stream chat, people were spamming requests to the point that it just overwhelmed the chat and you guys couldn't even talk to each other. So I have decided that, when I take sight reading requests here, that it's actually accidentally encouraging spam. So on my part, I'm trying to correct that. So that was a mistake on my part, and I do apologize for that. So I am trying to correct that by no longer taking requests, sight reading requests from the chat. So that means that I do need to kind of like go behind the scenes and figure out a way to like, you know, for you guys to have a central location to submit your requests. And then, you know, hopefully it'll kind of like auto sync into some sort of list that I can go through during live streams. But then during the live stream itself, I won't be taking requests. So, but yeah, and just kind of sharing with you guys and you guys sharing with me about how we have all been feeling about the spammers in the chat in the last couple of live streams. And as it turns out, all of y'all are feeling the same thing as me, which is when you see that the chat going crazy with the spam, it just, you don't want to talk anymore, you know? See, this is the kind of conversation that I wanted with you guys. It's like this kind of back and forth. I can see what you guys are all saying, you know. Oh, thank you, Magic One Kichi. I do like this shirt. I believe I bought this shirt in Japan. Yeah, I was in Japan. This is from a Japanese Uniqlo. And one interesting thing that I found about Japanese Uniqlos is that, weirdly enough, it's almost as if I'm Asian, and the proportion of, you know, the body proportions of these clothes fit my body very well. I know, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? So yeah, the bulk of my wardrobe now is all like Uniqlo. So thanks. Spammers are kind of whack. I do agree. So, you know, there you go. How long do you think someone should play the flute before attempting the Mozart flute concertos? Not that long. They're not actually that hard. The Mozart flute concertos are actually mostly scales and arpeggios, or some form of scale. So like scale in thirds, you know, and lots of chords, lots of arpeggios type stuff, lots of kind of repeated patterns. So it's not actually that bad. So you can actually learn it pretty early on. But I would say that in order to play in a mature way, you do need to have some sort of like music history knowledge of the era and stuff like that. So you kind of have to keep all of that in mind. Like, are you aware of the style, you know, the stylistic, you know, type of expression that you would use? So for example, you don't want to play classical music in the same way that you play romantic pieces, right? Like it would kind of sound a little off. So, you know, it really kind of depends on what you know of the era, and technically speaking, are you up to speed with scales, arpeggios, blah, 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 you know? Wait, hold on, I'm Asian? I know, right? Have I done ABRSM? So I have done RCM, which is the Toronto version. So Toronto, Canada. So no, I haven't done ABRSM, but I have helped a lot of students with ABRSM. Yeah, and I did it on, so for RCM, I did it on flute and piano, but I only got the piano grade 6 because they refused to waive my grade 6 piano credit, even though I had already done level 8 piano down in the California version. The California curriculum was called Certificate of Merit, and they did not recognize it as a legitimate program. So I was forced to do the grade 6 piano anyway. So I did it without a teacher because I didn't care. So I just practiced on my own, went in and did the grade 6 exam, bit the bullet, got it done. So it allowed me to get my diploma for the flute. Now I have learned that is no longer the case. They now do recognize Certificate of Merit. So that was basically before they recognized it to be a legitimate curriculum. But, you know, I did it. So flute and piano, that was me. Mm-hmm. Yes, RCM holds up the little flag. Should I do an ABRSM? You know, actually, that's a great idea. I could do like a themed live stream where I sight read through ABRSM material. I could do that. It's a good idea. But like in a way that wouldn't even be like a request per se. That would be more like a themed video. Yeah. So that's really interesting. I need to write that down. ABRSM sight reading sessions. We could even do like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, like that. That would be really a really cool, like, you know, series. See, you see why hey Jeff, how are you doing? You see why I enjoy no spam? Because this is where I finally get interesting thoughts from you guys that I have not thought of. I have already written down some fantastic ideas from you guys because you guys can now actually talk. Ugh. Would I do grade 1 to 8 or 1 to the diploma level? Probably up to the diploma level. I mean, it's all or nothing at that point. You can't commit to an ABRSM sight reading sessions and not do it all, right? Like I could basically choose random, like basically do an exam, sight read for you guys. What is ABRSM? I don't know what it stands for, but it is the British, it's something British Royal School of Music, something like that. It's an extracurricular program for learning musical instruments. Yeah, graded music exams. Oh, Claire, you clearly know how to say this better than I do. Where do you get the music for ABRSM? So ABRSM has syllabuses. They have syllabi that they publish. And then you're kind of, there are specific collections that they kind of recommend that you buy. But in essence, they're giving you a list and then you go buy the music yourself. Yeah, but I have seen now online, they have like a recommended list with like the exact editions that they recommend. It's pretty cool, very helpful, much more helpful than before when you were just kind of like, you know, threw caution to the wind and then would just kind of look up the titles that they gave you and then hope that the edition that you got was okay, you know? Yeah. See you, Hataru. Good night. Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music. There we go. Maya, thank you so much. I was clearly so incredibly wrong. Yep. Excellent. And thank you, Jane. I do appreciate it. Or IMSLP, that's true. IMSLP now has a lot of public domain material on there. So if you're looking for stuff like in the Baroque era, classical, Romantic era, a lot of them you can find on IMSLP. Not all, but a lot. Yeah. Miranda, you are Rachel from last time. Excellent. I'm guessing you're just on a different account. Welcome back. Okay, guys, I've talked for long enough. I really should do some sight reading. What do you guys say? Yeah? All right, let's look this up. We're going to look up. I feel better. I feel so much better now that I know that you guys feel exactly the same way as me about the spammers. Like, it's what a release. You know what they say? Basically, clear communication just can basically solve any problem. So, I feel so much better. Okay, so Kohler, Opus 66, IMSLP. We'll look at the IMSLP version. Yes, so 25 Romantic Etudes. We were on number 14. Lovely. Okay, so guys, help me out, okay? If new people come into the chat and they don't know about my whole spiel on no spam and no requests in the chat, please tell them for me. Please help me. Hey, Neko, how you doing? Mercadante is underrated. I completely agree. So I tried some when Paul requested it one time, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is cute. This is very cute. Yeah, like I had heard of it, but I had just never played it myself, which is kind of like you would think that I would have played it by now, but no. There's actually a lot of pieces out there that I just have not had the opportunity to play. So anyway, we are on number 14. Let me do a real quick, should I put it in the description? That's a good idea. See, when you guys can actually talk, this is so helpful. It is so incredibly helpful. Okay, let me put here. Please note, as of this live stream, requests will no longer be taken from chat. I'm setting up a centralized location for you guys to send your requests when I'm not live streaming. Any repeated messages and or requests made in the chat will be treated as spam and will be treated as spam. And I'll say anyone who spams the chat will be removed. Thanks. Okay, so I will save that, and then if you guys refresh the page, you'll see it there. This is just so much better when I can like talk to you guys. This is so much better. This is so much better. This is great. I get great ideas from you guys. It's just, it's great. Where can you find the Mercadante? I found it on Scribd. See, go to Scribd. The JAF manual. Everyone study it, learn it. Should I make a JAF manual? Spammers will be shot out of a cannon. Yeah. Hey, Isabel. You don't even play an instrument, but you've been watching my channel. I am so honored. I am honored. Thank you very much. I hope you do enjoy what I have to say here and what all the random things I read. That is a huge honor because it means that, it means that you're not just here for the flute, and that it greatly makes me feel like I'm not being treated as just a music jukebox, So, disclaimer looks awesome. Excellent, guys. Thank you. See, this is us working together, and it feels so nice. Let me tell you, this feels so much better than last week. Last week, I was just like, something's going wrong. Why is there suddenly so much spam? Anyway, okay? You guys are great. All right. Let me do a real quick warm up. Okay, I wouldn't say it's amazing today, but whatever. Okay, let's do this. By the way, as I am playing, something that I will take from the chat are questions. So I'm gonna play for a while, and then maybe in the last, 45 minutes, half an hour or so of this stream, because I took a lot of this stream to talk about spam, and not the good kind. I would love to answer your questions. So anything that you have not heard me talk about, like music related, would be fantastic. Please get those questions ready, but maybe don't put it in the chat right now. I will ask you for your questions later on, okay? And I would love to address them. Even if I can't give you advice, at the very least, I would love to share my experience with you. Sound good? So you guys just let me know. C is coming out good second time in a row. I know, right, Amir? I know. Not bad. I'm not mad about it. Okay, let's try this one. This is, if you guys go online, you go to, actually I linked it below, so you guys can follow along with me. Link is in the description. So open it up and go to number 14 and you'll see what I'm reading here. Here we go. Okay. I've taught this one. I've taught this one. Okay, I know this one. All right. Probably should not have breathed there, but it happened. Okay. No. Oh, they changed it up on you there. Okay. All right. By the way, I would like to make a mention. This part here is very annoying to do if you're doing it on a, especially on a beginner model flute. The change in your mouth or in your jaw kind of depends on how high or low your nose bridge is. If you have a high nose bridge, you'll do more jaw movement. If you have a low nose bridge, you'll do more kind of just moving the airstream inside of your mouth. Okay, so here, in this part where you go from A to E, it sounds like you shouldn't move that much in your mouth to make that happen, but that E is finicky. So as a teacher, I will often teach my students right there to make a larger movement back into their mouth than they think. So much warmer air than you anticipate for that E to come out, okay? And then especially with all these notes kind of going into the lower range, you have to really make sure that you like place those low notes really far forward. So your jaw might need to, if you have a high nose bridge, your jaw might need to kind of drop and come out quite a bit. If you have a low nose bridge, you're going to feel like you have to kind of like move the start of the airstream to like right where your lips are, like all the way out. On some flutes, you may even find that you're kind of imagining as if you're playing outside of your mouth, if that makes sense. So if you have a higher low nose bridge, okay, you kind of have to adjust to you know, like your style of playing. Okay, high nose bridge, jaw movement. Low nose bridge, just move this airstream back and forth in your mouth. People with low nose bridges can do it on instinct, okay? So, all right, here we go. See that? Oi, oi. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of for me, because I have, see it? Low nose bridge, okay? Yeah, high nose bridge, you're gonna do a lot more jaw movement to pull that same thing off, okay? Which you're not gonna see me do because I do not have a high nose bridge, all right? Okay, so we're gonna keep going. So it says a tempo right after, but it only said diminuendo and not retardando or rallentando. I'm gonna assume because it says a tempo that there is an implied rallentando right there. So we're gonna go back and play it that way. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I see you. You hear me split that E again? I didn't go back far enough. And that low E was really thin because I didn't go far forward enough. So we're gonna go back. So they didn't crack this time, but whoo, man. Going all the way down to that low E though, you have to be really precise. Okay. Yeah, that's, oh my gosh, that's way farther back than even I'm anticipating. Aha! Did you hear that? Nice and clear. Did you hear that? So, okay. Oh, Oriana. So, the only thing that makes you feel better about not being able to double tongue is Hello Kitty can't. Because she ain't got no mouth. You guys know this. My Twitch peeps and I realized that Hello Kitty does not have a mouth. Did you guys know this? Did you guys realize this? She apparently only has a mouth when she speaks, because apparently there's like a Hello Kitty cartoon or something. Kayla, why don't you guys pay me because I'm practically your online private teacher? I mean, here's the thing is, like, when I'm doing this stuff, at the very least I'm playing it so I can tell you what I'm doing, and it kind of makes sense to explain to you what I'm doing, right? But anyway, I wanted to show you guys. Hello Kitty does not have a mouth. Do you guys know that? Look at this. Look at this nonsense. Yeah? You guys see that? Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth. Like, what is this? Look at that. She doesn't have a mouth. Yeah. Because our YouTube peeps may not have had this epiphany yet, Melanie. We must educate our YouTube peeps too that Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth. I know, right, Caleb? I know. No mouth. Did you ever realize she doesn't have a mouth? Yeah. I know. Hey, Michael. Michael, make sure you don't repeat the same thing over and over. I had a chat with everyone earlier. No spam, okay? So, Yi, I'm calling you Yi. You've noticed this. Hey, oh, no worries, Michael. I did notice that Twitch did something really weird to you. I'm so sorry about that. But you should be able to join in today because you followed yesterday. So, but yeah, I'm so sorry that Twitch did that to you. That's so strange. Isabel, you have not had this epiphany yet, right? That Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth? I know. So, okay, see you later, Caleb. But yeah, isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? She doesn't have a mouth. Someone pointed this out in the Twitch chat. I forget who it was actually, but like I didn't even realize until someone pointed it out. And then I was like, wait a second. So I went to grab one and I was like, she doesn't have a mouth. She doesn't have a mouth. I know, Michael. It was really weird because he kind of like dropped out of the chat and I was like, where'd you go? I mean, sometimes people have things to do, so that's why I try not to be like, where'd you go? You know? Because, you know, I follow Brianna White, okay, on Twitch. She's the voice actress for Aerith in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and she is playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake. And yeah, she's kind of my new favorite streamer. She's so sweet. She's so adorable. And, but I get it. I mean, I tuned into her like 6-hour live stream and, you know, like we tuned in, I think like in the last 2 hours or something like that. So, like I totally get not being able to be on for the entire time, you know? So, and then like, we also kind of had to like pause it a bit to do something else. So like, I get it. I know that people have things to do. So that's why I try not to like call people out for suddenly dropping out of the chat. So I am glad that you let someone know so that I knew that it was actually really weird. Yeah. Machimon Kichi, it was you. It was you. It was you who pointed out that Hello Kitty does not have a mouth. Hey, Natasha. YouTube didn't remind you that it was one. No. You're more of a Pokemon girl yourself. Excellent. So the first Pokemon game that I ever made it all the way through was Pokemon Shield. I did Shield. My husband did Sword. Yeah, we might have basically have, you know, in the last week of our winter vacation, which was a stay-at-home vacation, we basically did the equivalent of what we're doing now, which is lockdown. So we were essentially, it was like a voluntary shelter in place where we just played Pokemon all day, every day until we beat the game. Yeah. Yes, and Natasha is correct. Hello Kitty has no mouth because they want you to be able to project your own emotions onto her. Yes, apparently that is the decision of the designer of Hello Kitty, right? Or like the animator or something like that, right? Something like that? Oh, man. Is it weird that water Pokemon have to learn swim? I do agree with you, man. I do agree with you. Lauren, your partner and you just got each other Sword and Shield too? It is fun, man. It is fun to kind of like go back and forth playing, you know, between the two of you. Because you'll actually get different spawns of different Pokemon. So like there are some Pokemon that only spawn in Sword and some Pokemon that only spawn in Shield. So we did the whole thing where we caught the ones that only spawn in our game and then we traded it with each other. Did I like Shield? I loved Shield. I did like Shield. Yeah. Fortune of being an adult is being able to buy Pokemon for Christmas. Yep, that's exactly what we did. We basically bought it for ourselves. It was fantastic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a great game. That was a great game. My goodness. Fantastic game. But of course that means that I should go back and play the other ones too. All right, guys, I should probably do some more sight reading because that, after all, this is supposed to be a sight reading stream, which I'm doing a very bad job of. All right, let's do this. So we're at 15 now. Number 15, it's Kohler Op 66. Oh, okay. Oh. So this is andantino. I'm guessing spinning wheel, something like that. Maybe. Oh my gosh. There it is. Oh, okay. Turns major here. That is one very interesting key change. Let me go back and do that again. Oh, this is more than one page. Oh, it bleeds into the other page. Okay. Yeah, that's a really bad tone. Let me do that again. Thank you, Neko. Hi E popping out of nowhere and you're shook. David, you just came back from teaching a lesson. Were you teaching a 5th grader? Is that what you were saying at the beginning of the chat? Hey Ariana, how are you doing? Also hello to Diane. I wanted to make sure that I said hello to you as well. So Flute is so rich. Oh, thank you very much, Michael. So I did want to make a mention in terms of teaching this one will be very good for teaching kind of like flexibility. So again, low nose bridge means that you have to do a lot of kind of like moving your airstream back and forth in your mouth. If you have a high nose bridge, lots of jaw movement. So kind of this kind of down and out for low notes, back for high notes, and then at a certain point your jaw can't go back enough without just straight up closing. Okay, so at that point is when you dip into playing with like that kind of warm air that kind of starts from the back of your mouth, and you want to make it warmer and further back in your mouth the higher you go. Okay, this type of etude will be very difficult to pull off well on a beginner model flute. So I would probably say that by the time you're playing etudes like this, you should at the very least be on a step up model, I think, at the very least. So we're talking at least a solid silver head joint with plated body. And I'm only saying that because it will literally make your life a little bit easier. If you're playing this on a beginner flute, you're gonna basically feel like you're going all the time, which is very uncomfortable. It's not that you can't do it. But you know what? Since we're talking about it, let's do it. I'm gonna take out my beginner model flute. And we're gonna try the same thing, but on my beginner model flute. How's that sound, guys? Yeah? A little challenge for Joanna. Just like opera technique, the higher the note, the further back, and almost crescent moon shaped as it gets. That is really interesting. I did not know that you did that for opera singing too. They do say that playing the flute and singing are very similar. Are step up and intermediate models the same? They can be. I would say that the difference between them is very vague. A step up model is usually understood to be a silver head joint with silver plated body, and then an intermediate flute, like when you get into the all silvers, at that point it kind of depends on the maker, you know, how high end they get, you know, because you can get a really high end flute that is all silver, and kind of depends on the maker, you know. So yeah. Usually it has something to do with how much of it is manufactured by a machine and how much of it is made by hand. Usually that is also a factor in how high quality the instrument is. But anyway, this is my beginner model. My beginner model, my baby. This is my Yamaha little baby. And I will now play for you the same exact etude, and I will describe to you how this feels, okay? So it's not really fair, really, to ask a like someone on a beginner model instrument to play this kind of thing as fluidly and beautifully as someone on a professional level instrument. It's just not fair, because on a professional level instrument, the movement range that you do is really tiny, because every note is, you already know how to place each note so precisely. On a beginner model flute, there's a large margin of error per note, which then extends the whole range of flexibility like crazy. It takes up your entire mouth. So let's try this. Yeah, playing that low C, I feel like it's actually happening like outside of my mouth. Like it's... Oh. That's like all the way back in my mouth, man. That is not pleasant. Okay, it almost feels like I'm like almost choking on it, you know? Okay, so we'll do this. That's crazy. Oh. You can hear me getting used to it. Do you hear me getting used to it? It's me going like that. Like it's, oh, okay. Do more throat noises on a beginner model flute. Yeah, you guys hear that struggle? Oh my god. Okay. This is a workout. You can hear how like when I don't hit it quite right, the note is just like kind of thin. So the placement of that A is the equivalent of like placing a high E on this one. You know, like that kind of range is just like, yeah. So you guys are feeling it too, right? You hear the keys moving. Yeah, I mean, this thing is old. This thing is real old. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Exactly, Magic Monkichi. So you're also feeling the C right on your lips. You can see more movement in my jaw in this flute. Yeah. I would say that my jaw moves in response to the airstream moving. And then for people who have a higher nose bridge, your airstream moves in response to your jaw moving. Like it's kind of like it's the opposite. But yeah, it's just that. Oh gosh. It's real, man. It's real. So like, for those of you guys who are teaching students on, presumably a lot of your students will be playing on instruments that are of a lower model than yours. Two things. Have a little bit more mercy and even the playing field. Okay? So when I teach, I now try to match, like I tried to now put together a flute that is closest to what they have. So for the most part, I would say most of my students have a full silver flute. Not because I made them get one. It's all of their own accord, okay? And so I am now most frequently teaching on my Mateki and on this kind of combination, which is here. Let me show you. Yeah, this gold and silver combination. So those two are the ones that I teach on the most. And it just kind of forces me to like experience a more close, like a closer representation to what they experience on the flute. And that way I can teach them much more accurately too. Like I can tell them like, it feels like you're moving at least like however many millimeters or centimeters or whatever, you know, like whatever you envision millimeters and centimeters to be. And it just makes teaching it a lot more precise. Because if I teach it on like, for example, my new head joint where I don't actually have to do a lot of movement, that's when you get, you know, me saying things like, oh, just relax and just, you know, just you don't really have to think about it. You just relax into it. Just keep yourself open and it'll happen. Yeah, no, that's not how it works on a lower model instrument. That's just not how it works. You do have to work a little harder. Is that nice to know, David? I'm glad, because you are what you were just teaching a student too, right? So throat noises are because you need to set up to a better flute. Not directly because, but my suspicion right now is that throat noises have something to do with like when an instrument is not in the range that you like to control, and so it kind of makes you like almost like force the sound, and in that effort to force the sound will activate our voice boxes, which is not what you want to do. Usually, like every time you start hearing throat noises, you know something's not quite right. So that's true, Natasha. Someone I believe Jane was the one who brought up that point too, that like I do need to show you guys a nicer sound too, so that you guys know what to shoot for, right? But what I usually end up doing with students is I will also get you guys to play along with other recordings, just so you don't just get me, right? So I've had students play along with me. I've had students play along with other recordings. Then they get a nice little kind of like mosaic of like different professional interpretations of a particular piece. And then they can kind of put together their own, which includes kind of like the sound quality too. I often find when students memorize a piece of music and then play along with a few different recordings, not only do their expression just shoot through the roof in terms of quality, but their tonal quality also gets a lot better too, because now they're kind of like, they have like a nice idea of like a few different ways to create a really nice tone, and then they can kind of like mix and match until they produce something that they want. You know, that is also traditionally at a good standard, right? So it's always kind of like a mix of it's a really fine balance of like individuality. So you want to highlight the individuality of the student, but then you also want to make sure that they know what the good standard is. Like traditionally, what is a good standard? So you kind of have to balance both of those things quite a bit, you know? Is swapping body joints a no-no? I wouldn't say it's a no-no, but oftentimes an entire flute is designed to work well with the parts that are given to you. Usually the body and the foot joint are kind of designed to work together for tuning purposes and stuff like that. I did at one point have what I was affectionately calling a Franken flute, because this flute does not have a B foot joint. And I was playing on this flute in the first 2 years of my music school years. And we happened to play quite a bit of music with low Bs in my woodwind quintet. And so what I did was I borrowed my friend's B foot joint from a flute that he wasn't playing very often so that I could stick it onto mine. And I believe I had to stick it on with a little piece of tape too, or else it would fall off. So we just called that Franken flute, and it did kind of warp the tuning a little bit. So that's something to account for, that if you kind of swap body parts, like the body and foot joint parts, sometimes it can kind of mess with the tuning and with the sound. It just kind of sounds a little off, if that makes sense. But swapping out the head joint is a very typical thing to do, because most of your sound is kind of dependent on the head joint. Yeah. Is it normal for some of us to have that day that we sound like we just picked up the flute, and sometimes like we've been playing for 30 years? Yes, very normal. Completely normal. Oh yeah. Also welcome to the stream, Leonardo. What I like to tell my students is that professionals are just very good at hiding the bad days. And how do you hide the bad days? Is you study what you are like on a good day so that you can manually replicate everything on a bad day. So you're manually replicating, even though your body doesn't want to do it, like the specific embouchure, how things feel inside of your mouth, your posture, like relaxing your jaw, stuff like that. Everybody has a different quirk. that arises on days that you're stressed, on days that you have anxiety, or just for some reason it's just an off day. Usually I find that you can kind of, like, if you look at what's happening in your life, all of your bad tone days typically line up with some sort of stress factor. Some sort of stress factor, even if that stress factor is as simple as you did not get enough sleep the night before. You know, so just so you know, Leonardo, professionals still have bad days. We're just good at hiding it. That's it. That is the only difference. That's the only difference. I can assure you, I love it when there are days that I feel like I don't need to try. I love it. Yeah, those bad days don't go away. You're just very good at dealing with them. That's it. Do I have better days in summer than winter? I wouldn't say so. Because I have both good and bad days in both summer and winter. I think for me, at the very least, it's very dependent on stress and anxiety. Yeah. Yes, that's true, Amir. The B foot joint does add some weight. That is right. Yeah. So it will kind of offset the balance of the flute a little bit. All right, guys. Ooh, we've been going for a while, but I want to do at least another one. How does that sound? This one's called Cantabile. Allegro maestoso. So this is number 16 from the Kohler Opus 66. And then I think what I'll do after I finish reading this is I'll take a little break to make a quick tea, and then I'll come back and answer some of you guys' questions. So I think now is about the good time to start thinking about some questions you might want to ask me. I mean, you guys have already been asking me questions kind of related to this stuff, but if you had other questions, like kind of out of the blue, that you've wanted to know my thoughts on, music related questions, please start thinking of them now, okay? And then when I ask for it, put it in the chat. All right, so we're doing number 16. Here you go. Oh, sorry, wrong key. Sorry, G sharps. What is this? D sharp carries through the bar. Do you hear how it cracked low? So that tells me that I'm not placing it far enough back in my mouth. A cute ending. Okay, give me a second, guys. I really want to figure out this middle bit here. Nope. Okay, okay. Oh. That is really cute. I want to do it again. Oh, no. Etc., etc., etc. That is cute. That's real cute. I like, especially at the end. The end is real cute. So if you go, let's see. Unusual, and I love it. Good night, Amir. You're gonna have a great day tomorrow. Oh. Did I study music, and if so, where? Welcome, Anne. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I did. So I studied in two places. University of British Columbia in Vancouver, BC for my bachelor's of music and flute performance. And then San Francisco State University down in San Francisco, California. For my master's in flute performance. Which, fun fact, I did not actually audition for the master's in flute performance degree. I originally auditioned for a master's in chamber music because they had that available. But then, as it turns out, what they actually meant by that was a string quartet chamber ensemble. But because I successfully auditioned and they did want to accept me, their work around that was to give me a master's in flute performance, but then go really heavy on small ensemble, like chamber ensemble stuff. There you go. Isn't it a cute piece, Jane? This is so cute. This is number 16 from the caroler. UBC. So did I say it fully? University of British Columbia in Vancouver, BC, up in Canada. For you, I guess it would be over in Canada. For me, it's up because I'm in the Seattle area. Yes. All right. So let's see. Oh, we are doing great on time. So what we're gonna do, I'm just going to excuse myself for like 5 minutes to heat up some water real quick. And I'll get a tea going. So it might be more than 5 minutes because I need to heat the water and then I need to steep it for 3 minutes. So I'll be back taking a quick little break. Get your questions ready, okay? So anything that we have not discussed today yet would be a great topic, music related. Would love to, anything you've been wondering about. Put it in the chat when I come back, okay? Get your questions ready. I will be right back real soon, all right? See you in a bit. am back. I've got my tea. All right. We've got our tea cam going on here too. There we go. You guys can get a nice pointless close-up of my tea. All right. So I want to see what questions we've got here. I did see Magic Monkichis. And I love that you guys were having some fun while I was out. You guys are so cute. Okay. So let's see. Missy, hello. Welcome back. How are you doing? You've been busy with uni. Good thing to be busy with. Also, Scott, I saw that you fell off your bike. Oh no. Oh no, rest up, man. Rest up. Jody, you received your new flute from the Flute Center of New York last Saturday. Yay! I'm glad. Are you enjoying it? That's a good flute. That's a good flute. Okay, I did see Magic Monkichi. You wanted to ask about fast single tonguing and double tonguing, right? So there's that question. Oriana is what exercises for double tonguing? Okay, cool. How do you teach embouchure changes to students? Oh no, David. David, I feel you. Okay, so we got single tonguing, double tonguing. We have embouchure. How do you teach embouchure? Okay. Hide the boombox. Oh, you guys are so cute. Jody, your poor old flute just gave out. When you brought it in for a COA, the tech didn't even charge you. She said, put the money towards... Oh, no. Because she probably was like estimating how much it would cost you. And she was like, yo, you can buy a whole new flute with this kind of money. My goodness. Okay. Sounds good. Let me just write these questions down though, because knowing me, I'm going to forget. So let's put it in here somewhere. So we've got one. We've got single, fast, single, and double tonguing. Then we have double tonguing exercises and teaching embouchure. So David, I'm keeping in mind that you seem to have students who are in the middle school range, is that right? Something like that? Yes, absolutely. No, Thor, it will not count as spam here because I totally didn't even see it. And also I didn't have time yet to tell you guys when to actually ask your question, so ask it now. Have I found that teaching has changed at all with me with the pandemic? All right, let's go. Pandemic teaching. Flutter tonguing. Flutter tonguing. Is it possible to go to music uni as a late starter? Yeah, I know plenty of people who were late starters and they became very successful. But I will put this in here. Late start to music school. Parents don't support. Oh yeah, what's your question, Michael? Wait, where did you post your question? I'm scrolling up right now. Yeah, no, I don't think I got your question, Michael. So put your question here now. Quick typing skills. What a double sharp is. Let me answer that real quick. Okay, so you know how you have F and then you have F sharp? A double sharp just means to go another half step higher, which is A, G, right? That's all it is. It's just telling you to sharp something twice. Which usually means you end up on, and you're probably like, why would you do that? There are certain keys, for example, where if you are, let's say, C sharp major, okay? where there's certain notes in there where it makes more sense if you build a chord on top of one of the notes in that scale. It makes more sense to see it written as a double sharp rather than, you know, a wholly different note, simply because it just makes more sense chord wise. Usually has to do with scales and chord structure. That's where you end up with double sharp and double flats. Just so you know, it has mostly to do with like harmony, music theory, stuff like that, that like makes more sense written that way. But like, I know you're probably like, why don't you just call an F double sharp a G? What's so wrong with that, right? Music theory, that's what it is. Okay. Let's see. How do you stay fit on the piccolo? Okay. So piccolo, staying fit on piccolo plus tone, piccolo tone. Okay. How do I wear my hair for concerts? I have done down, but I always find that I randomly inhale it when I don't want to. So I usually will tie it up in a little like bun type of thing, mostly just so I don't inhale my hair. And then I will put black flowers in it because black matches my hair. So I can feel like a little extra without looking extra on stage, right? Because if you're in an orchestra, you don't want to look crazy extra, you know? Yeah, but generally speaking, you do kind of want to like tie up your hair so you don't inhale it. Yeah, so that's a quick one. All right, Michael, that sounds good. Diminuendo on a high note. Okay, put that in here. Diminuendo on a high note. I'm gonna take 10 questions. How does that sound? We're on number 9 now. Solid gold or gold-plated flute? Let me tell you the difference between solid gold versus plated gold. I did explain this before, but it would be good for you guys to know. Oh, it's in a hue fantasy. Okay, got it. All right. Okay, well, we're at 9 questions and we'll stop there, okay? So these are some good questions you guys have. 10th question. Would I recommend buying an iPad or something similar for music school or music related stuff like sheet music? Okay. iPad for sheet music? For music school? Okay. I have some thoughts on it, but they're not conclusive, okay? So we're gonna start from the top here. Sorry, that's all the questions I can take for today, okay? So number 1, fasted single and double tonguing. Okay, so what you're first gonna have to figure out is how your flute likes to play, okay? That's the first thing you have to think about. And you're probably like, whoa, what does this have to do with tonguing? Okay, so you know how earlier I was talking about how if you have a high nose bridge, you're gonna do a lot of jaw movement, kind of coming out like this, right? Coming out for low notes and then backing up for high notes, right? And so in terms of that movement, what you're actually doing is, I have found at the very least working with my students that if you generally kind of vertically line up your tongue with where your lower teeth are, so don't tongue against your lower teeth, but tongue against your top teeth into the roof of your mouth, like that range there. So you want to kind of line it up with where you imagine your jaw is. So like it should be lined up with it, like wherever it's tonguing against, you know, your teeth to the roof of your mouth. So wherever your jaw is, line it up. Like that, okay? What you'll find is you generally have to tongue further forward for your low notes and then further back for your high notes. So that's baseline tonguing, all right? Now, how do you tongue? Typically, okay, this is the roof of your mouth into your teeth. Typically, when we think of tonguing, we think of going like this, ta, right? But do you see how that will create a delay, right? Because if you think ta, that's already late, right? So one way to remedy that is to not think of it as an attack going forward with your tongue. you are thinking of it as a release. So it should go, your tongue should already be in place, and then when you actually tongue is when you release it down and back. This does a few things. It actually times your tongue so that it's not delayed. That's actually part of what feels like you're going too slow, is that you're actually giving yourself like a millisecond of a delay. So that takes out the delay completely if you think of it as a release. The other thing is that when it's released, it gives a lot of room for your airstream to come by, okay? So you'll find that your sound is also a lot fuller. So, and it's a much lighter action to release than it is to attack. So if you constantly think of tonguing as releasing, that's how you can go fast. Okay? That's the quick answer to that. Now, quick double tonguing is the same thing, okay? It's not ta, ka, ta, ka, okay? It should be ta, ka, ta, ka. Do you see how that's really fast now, right? There's not that extra delay, okay? So release, 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 release. The same thing. I did not get your question, Michael. Where are you sending it? Because it should be in the chat. I'm just taking it in the chat. Okay. Write it in the chat, please. Okay. So, does that make sense? So, that is ooh, Lafreck, the Lafreak. So, I made a whole Lafreak video. So I'll let you go find that one to answer your question about that, because my thoughts about it are still the same as that video. So go look that up. Okay, so Magic Monkichi, does that answer your question? Yeah, don't attack forward. Yeah, it is the complete opposite of what most people are taught. Why are you taught the other way first though, right? It's to just get you to do the motion. So sometimes, actually a lot of times when you're teaching a beginner, you have to teach with very easy concepts that may not be 100% correct as to what you're going to do later on when you get really good. It's just part of how to get there. So it's not that your teacher taught you wrong. It's that your teacher had to teach you in the beginner format where that's how they got you to just do the motion, right? What you're asking about right now is refining that motion. So now that you know how it feels to tongue, now you know what I mean by just thinking of it as a release rather than as an attack. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there you go. Okay, cool. Is that the best description of tonguing you've ever heard, Jody? I'm glad. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, double tonguing exercises. Currently, the double tonguing exercises that I use are found in the Trevor Y book. So specifically, I believe it's page 98 or 10 something. 107? 10... Yeah, 104. So I use the ones on number 4. Essentially, the way that he has you do this, we'll show you here. I'll just show it to you like in a little, because I don't want to, get dinged for this too much. But he gives you a pattern here. So he gives you a scalar pattern here on page 104. And then he gives you different rhythmic and repeated patterns of how you're going to play this particular scalar pattern, right? So this is the rhythmic pattern that he wants you to apply here, okay? So I have found that just by getting my students to do 1 or 2 of these full exercises per day, and then they just kind of chunk through the entire double tonguing section, it's great. So you really don't have to go crazy practicing double tonguing for long periods of time per session. You just have to do it every day a little bit. So yeah, so that's what I would do for double tonguing exercises. I personally use page 104 of the Trevor Y book. Okay, now for teaching embouchure. All right, David. I feel you, okay? I feel you. It's real hard. Now, what I've noticed is that it kind of depends on the general age range combined with maturity and how self-aware someone is willing to be, okay? If someone is not willing to be self-aware, teaching embouchure is going to be, it's not going to work. If someone is just there in the lesson to they just expect you to spoon feed them the way to do it, and they just expect to be able to do it that way and not do any experimentation on their part, I hate to say it, but in all of my experience, it is a hopeless cause, okay? So part of it is that the student themselves needs to want to learn embouchure, like an embouchure change, okay? Okay, now let's say the student doesn't want to learn, okay? So what I have done is I play a lot for them, okay? Because what a lot of students will do, even if they don't want to have that kind of self-awareness, or they don't want to actually really learn embouchure, or anything that requires a lot of them just being self-aware of what they're doing. So what you do is you play a lot for them. It's almost like you're teaching an oral tradition. So when you are teaching them something, go phrase by phrase, playing the phrase for them, and then kind of like, you can make it interesting by talking about maybe some like historical, some historical tidbit that goes along with it, or like, you can mimic an opera singer and show how an opera singer would sing it, and you can mimic how a violinist would play it, stuff like that. You can make it interesting in that way, but essentially what you're doing is you're going phrase by phrase and you're playing the phrase for them and then having them mimic you. This works really well for younger students who just don't have that kind of hyper focus to be able to figure out what they're doing with their mouth. Also, they don't care, okay? Like, younger students don't care how it feels. They only care if it comes out sounding right, okay? So you kind of have to play with that, right? If they only care about it sounding right, you have to provide the thing that sounds right, okay? So go phrase by phrase, playing it for them, having them mimic you, phrase by phrase by phrase by phrase, and then you can get them to play it all the way through. You'll notice that magically their embouchure gets better, magically their sound gets better, and a lot of what they're doing is they're learning through mimicry, which is something that I would say adults don't really do. Adults like to learn via full explanations, the why, the how, not just the what. But younger students only want to know the what, okay? So provide that for them. Go with the fact that they learned through mimicry the best, and give them something to mimic. Yeah. So, yeah, Michael, I'm not seeing your question at all in here. Usually I will see it, like if for some reason YouTube decides to hide it, usually I can still see it. So I'm not sure what's going on, but definitely at me, like what Jane said here. Yeah, resend it in chat. And true, they don't care. Yeah, okay. So, okay, now let's say you have a student who is older and who likes to think about what they do, okay? What you need to keep in mind as a teacher is that your experience of the flute is actually going to be very different from theirs. So you're going to have to take a lot of things into account. You have to take into account how high their nose bridge is. I just figured this out myself like a few weeks ago, okay? The way I experience air flowing through my head is actually very different from how a person with a high nose bridge experiences air flowing through their head. So the embouchure of a person who has a low nose bridge is going to look quite different than a person who has a high nose bridge, simply because of the way you're controlling the air. Like, what I always like to tell people is that the exterior look of your embouchure usually is more so affected by what's actually happening inside of your mouth. All right. So it is true though, if you have a smiley embouchure, it restricts what you can do on the inside of your mouth, which is why you want to go more for a frowny embouchure. A frowny embouchure will give you more room to play with inside of your mouth. That's kind of, at least for me, the extent of exterior embouchure. Most of your embouchure issues are going to stem from the inside of your mouth. So I was saying earlier, people with high nose bridges tend to need to use a lot of jaw placement, and you can read about that in Marcel Moyse's De La Sonorité. He does a great job of explaining how he feels his jaw move, and he has a high nose bridge. But I found that if I did what he said quite literally, it didn't have quite as a great effect on me. But if I applied what he said, but to just moving the airstream around in my mouth, it works like a charm. And I've noticed that it works like a charm on all of my students who have a low nose bridge. So you have to take that into account, that your student may not be experiencing the flute the same way as you are. If they tell you that something feels different than what you are describing that it should feel, believe them. You need to believe them, okay? You can't just write them off as like, oh, they just don't know what they're doing. No. If they are brave enough to tell you that they feel something different from you, you need to believe them. They're asking for your help. So you need to do a little bit of experimentation in that way. No, Michael, I'm still not seeing it. Yeah, all of us can't see it. That is so strange. Are you, like, you're typing it in here though, right? Where you are typing it in this chat. Oh no. Let's see. You're using frowny face for the flute in comparison to a smiley face for voice work. That's so interesting. Majin Monkichi. Hey, Michael Lee, how are you doing? Okay, so that's kind of my quick overview of how to teach embouchure. There's really no how to. You really have to experiment with the student. For a student who doesn't care, you just play for them and make them mimic you. They will find a way to make themselves sound like you, okay? Which may not be exactly how you're experiencing the flute. If the student does care, that's when you need to do a lot of talking back and forth. How do you feel about this? How do you feel when you do this? Let's see if maybe if you do this, let's see what happens, you know? So you do a lot of experimentation back and forth. All right, Michael, I saw the at. All I'm seeing is yes. I'm not seeing your question. This is so weird. What is wrong? What's wrong with the chat? Okay, I don't know what's going on, Michael. I'm so sorry. Oh, wait. Oh, there. Yes, it's there. How can you have better audio on Flute Viz? Okay. Let's see if I can get to it, Michael. Audio for Flute Viz. Okay, I got it, Michael. We did it, we made it work. Hey. Tone color, okay. I have a quick answer to that one, so I'll just add it. Okay, all right. If you lift your eyebrows, it creates more space in your mouth. That is wild, because that does not happen to me, right? See, this is what I'm talking about. I hope, Natasha, you don't mind me calling you out, but Natasha is actually my student. So you really have to, like, as the teacher, you need to really be humble and realize that not all your students are going to be experiencing the flute the same way that you do. I don't know why that didn't work. That's so weird. I'm so glad it finally came through, Michael. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So pandemic teaching. Someone was asking about how my teaching has changed during the pandemic. truthfully, for me, it hasn't, because I've been doing online teaching for 6 years. So in terms of the actual teaching, it's the same. A lot of experimentation, a lot of being very verbal in how I describe how to do things. Definitely online lessons require both sides to be a lot more verbal than in person, actually. You actually do a lot more playing when you're playing in person than when you're doing online teaching. Not that you don't do any, but it's less, because there's a lot of, basically forced verbalization of what's going on either side. So the quick answer is no, it hasn't changed it, but the amount of teaching has changed. To be completely truthful, my studio has completely blown up. I am teaching all day nowadays, and I have had to literally block out this time to even be able to stream. So I basically refuse to teach students in this hour or in these 2 hours so that I can talk to you guys. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. Okay, flutter tonguing. Someone was right. I did make an entire video about it. Again, people flutter in different parts of their mouths. Now, if you roll your R, you just roll your R while you play. That's it, okay? There's no real magic to it. Now, if you're like me and you can't roll your R, here's the quick way that I learned how to do it. You start with just growling in your throat. So you go like that. And you kind of study how that vibration feels, okay? Then what you do is, because my suspicion is that this is something to do with the fact that I have a low nose bridge, and so I can move things forward and back in my mouth at will. So what I did was I studied how that felt, and then I moved that sensation forward against the middle of the roof of my mouth. So I went, which forces your tongue to kind of become part of the action. And then that's basically my flutter. Is it cute? No, it's not. It is not as nice as people who can roll their R's, but this is how I've managed it. So I have yet to figure out how to teach someone with a high nose bridge who cannot roll their R's how to do it. So I am sorry that I don't have an answer to that, but one day I'll figure it out. It's just one of those things that I haven't figured out yet. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, that does not lift my soft palate. That's so weird. Okay. But apparently if you have a high nose bridge, it does. That's so weird. Okay. Let's keep going. Can you do a late start to music school, especially if parents don't support you? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I have quite a few colleagues who were late starters in music school, and let me tell you, nobody cares that you're a late starter. Absolutely no one cares. In fact, a lot of people are very, I at least found myself very impressed with their determination, and they became my role models, really. And so absolutely, you can be a late starter, and no one cares. No one cares that you're a late starter. No one cares how old you are, to be completely honest. Okay, once you get into university, ain't nobody cares how old you are. No one cares. You're just adults. That's it. So yeah, late start to music school, totally fine. Your parents not supporting though. Your parents are not supporting. I think it's mostly because they know that this field does not make a lot of money. It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't make a lot of money. I think the reason why my parents believed in me was because their parents, as in my dad's parents, forced my dad to become an engineer when his passion is in more like social work type of stuff, right? So my dad basically restarted his career. I believe it was in his 40s. And he is extremely successful as a clinical pastoral counselor. That's what he is. So my dad did it he finally started his dream job when he was like in his 40s into his 50s. And so for him, you know, he can see that I'm going down this path of being a musician, and he was like, you know what? Like, sure, it might not earn a lot of money, but he could see that this was my passion. And so he was like, he had to let go. Okay? He had to let go of the fact that I might not make a lot of money and let me pursue it because he wanted me to be able to pursue my dream from earlier on in my life. He wanted me to not waste my life, like half my life, doing a job that I didn't actually want to, the way he did, okay? So it takes a lot of strength on the part of the parents to let go of that, okay? So what can you do? If they are up for talking, you can discuss with them, like, do you get a job on the side that will pay the bills, but it will allow you to go study music and pursue your dream of becoming a musician, all right? Do you do that? How much of that do you do? How much are they willing to support you? Do you have some sort of plan for how you would make money as a musician, right? Like, do you have some sort of idea of what you could do? Not that that idea is exactly what you're going to end up doing, because I mean, come on, like look at what I'm doing right now, okay? Like, I would not have known that I was going to do this 5 years ago, okay? So, but do you have an idea of what you're going to do, right? For me, my idea was that I was going to be some form of online content creator, okay? That was my idea. And so, you know, like, my parents could see, and I talked with them a lot about how I was going to go about doing this. So they could see that I'm savvy, creative, that I'm smart about my choices, right? So that's if your parents want to talk. Now, if your parents don't want to talk, you're probably going to have to get a job on the side that will, you can save up money to go to school with on your own, because you're an adult and you can make your own decisions, okay? And then you need to, like, a bunch of my friends did this. So they have a job on the side. They saved up, they pay for their schooling, and then they work really hard within the music field they networked really hard, became very well known, got a lot of students, which of course pays quite well if you get a lot of students, because that will allow you some pockets of time to also do a lot of gigs, get on sub lists. Once you get into the sub list and people know you in different orchestras and stuff like that, and if people like to work with you, you'll get asked to do more gigs. It's kind of like a butterfly effect, essentially. So it kind of depends on your situation, right? I know I am very lucky in that my parents experienced what you're experiencing for themselves, and so they didn't want me to have that experience. They wanted me to start from the beginning. So, you know, yeah. So I hope that was at least insightful for you. But yeah. All right, so now I believe Thor is the one who asked the next few. Staying fit on the piccolo. Something that has worked for another of my viewers here is when you are first like having your body figure out the difference between how it feels playing the flute and playing the piccolo. What you want to do is figure out what you're going to do with your practice schedule. So for example, let's say you practice 1 hour a day, okay? What I suggest is for like the first week, you do half an hour flute and then half an hour piccolo. Then the next day you do half an hour piccolo, half an hour flute, and you kind of stagger it like that. You go back the next day, half an hour flute, half an hour piccolo, and you stagger it like that. The next week, do 20 minutes flute, 20 minutes piccolo, 20 minutes flute. Then the next day, do 20 minutes piccolo, 20 minutes flute, 20 minute piccolo, and then you keep staggering it like that again. The next week, you do flute, piccolo, at 15 minutes per, 15 minutes flute, 15 minutes piccolo, 15 minutes flute, 15 minutes piccolo. The next day, start with piccolo, 15 minutes piccolo, 15 minutes flute, 15 minutes piccolo, 15 minutes flute. You stagger it like that. Then later, this is just you getting used to switching back and forth between flute and piccolo. Then the week after, you do 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 minutes each throughout the hour. And then by the end of that week, you'll realize you can switch on command. So that's doing that will definitely help with staying fit on the piccolo. It's more so like muscle memory for your lips to remember how it feels to play on the piccolo. For me, what I will do is if I haven't played piccolo for a while, I'll just do what seems like you were suggesting, tone on the piccolo. I straight up do harmonics and tone exercises from this book on the piccolo. Yeah. So I go as high as I can on the harmonics. I use the treble Y. So those are the tone exercises that I use for piccolo, is actually the flute stuff. So I hope that helps. Diminuendo on a high note. I think someone else asked this. You need to do it from a lot of support. So when I say support, you flex your abs in such a way that you can feel the abs actually kind of somewhat kind of pulling down a little bit, right? It pulls down naturally. You don't have to try pulling it down yourself, okay? When you flex your abs, you'll feel it kind of pulling down very naturally, very slightly, okay? Then you want to push those middle ab muscles out. And once you do that, you'll actually feel there's a pressure underneath your rib cage, and there's a very slight pressure as if someone has a hand right here. It's almost like a seat belt over your lungs right here, right? If you play while doing that, you'll notice that it essentially controls the air for you, okay? This is absolutely essential when playing softly, especially doing a diminuendo on a high note. So the high note part, with it being high, you'll have to place it quite far back in your mouth. So make sure that you're playing with a all the way in the back of the mouth, as if you're blowing warm air out. Place it real far back. Play with that kind of support. And then you'll notice that you can make the airstream really tiny and it'll still come out. So play around with that. All right, solid gold versus plated gold. Okay, so solid gold on like the lip plate, or like a solid gold lip plate or a solid gold head joint, blah, blah, blah. That will affect the just kind of like the sound, the quality of the sound. So gold tends to be mellower, warmer than silver. Gold plated is usually used to help with people who have silver allergies or nickel allergies. So some people are really allergic to silver and nickel, or nickel, that is. And so if you put gold plate, right? If you plate the lip plate with gold, so what you're doing is you're keeping the silver and the nickel or whatever it is there, but you're just plating over it with a layer of gold. It helps them not break out. So typically a gold plated lip plate is more for allergy problems. It doesn't do much to the sound because the lip plate itself is still mostly made of silver and nickel, right? Or silver, right? So that's the difference between solid gold and plated gold, all right? So solid gold will actually affect the sound. Plated gold, not really. It's mostly just for allergies. But okay, we'll keep going. We'll answer a few more questions and then I have to go, guys. iPad, do you get an iPad for sheet music? I think you should, because a lot of people in the professional world are starting to do that. I wouldn't say that everyone is, but some people are starting to. I'm one of them. I don't use an iPad, but I use a Surface. And in the last rehearsal I went to before the whole shutdown, I was able to scan my music, put it into my Surface, into OneNote actually, and then I can like write on it with my Surface pen. It's really convenient. I hear that iPad has an app that is for these types of gigs. And it's basically like a library, and then you can make playlists of specific pieces in whatever specific order you want for a specific ensemble that you're playing for. It's pretty cool. So I don't remember what it's called, but if you look up sheet music app iPad, you'll probably find it. Yeah. So I would say that people are starting to use it now. But like, is it a necessity? No, I wouldn't say it's a necessity right now, but maybe in 10 years, yeah, maybe. All right. Audio for flute vids. All right. So what you're gonna want to do is decide whether your microphone that you're using is good for up close like this or far away. So what I actually have are two other microphones that are kind of the type of microphones that you use to mic choirs. They're like stick microphones. And they're really good for capturing room sound. So natural room reverb, basically. This condenser microphone is really good for catching close-up sounds like this. And this specific microphone is really good for capturing an acoustic sound, which is why I chose it, and it wasn't unreasonably priced. But mostly, you'll want your microphone, at least with the flute, to be, especially if it's like on your phone, at least 5 to 6 feet away from you, at least. Because if it's too close up to you, you're just gonna max out the sound completely. On top of that, you won't catch the room sounds. That's the most important part to making a flute actually sound decent in a recording, is that it needs to have some of the captured natural room reverb. Okay, that's what really makes a flute sound nice. My setup has 3 microphones. My old setup used to have 2. It was one that was closer up with my USB condenser microphone. And then I had a Zoom recorder that was on the other side of the room, which recorded the room reverb. And then what I did was, in post, I would mix them down together on the computer. So I'd mix them together. Yeah. Michael, brush off the hate comment. Just brush it off. I've gotten a lot of hate before too, which I've talked about actually. Okay, so and then last question about tone color, developing tone color. So I accidentally developed tone color when I was imitating various tunes that I heard from my favorite movies and video games. So what I found was that if I played with my normal sound, they would sound kind of off. So I kind of like started to manipulate the inside of my mouth to like sound like what I heard. For example, like Tumnus's lullaby in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has a very kind of like reedy sound to it. And if I played in my like typical classical flute sound, it just sounded a bit too like, it sounded a bit too open and full, if that makes sense. But it needed to sound kind of squashed and reedy. So I kind of manipulated, I kind of like moved things around in my mouth until like I got this like really reedy fat sound. So that's how, that's the best way to do it really, is to listen to a lot of like, you know, tunes that you like and then play along with the tunes and mimic it. What I often find is that when you actually play along with a recording, that is when it's most revealing how different you are playing from the recording. If you play the recording, stop it, and then play by yourself, it's much harder to hear the differences. But if you're playing right along with the recording, you can really hear the differences, and it'll encourage you to kind of like move your mouth around. You'll hear me talking about tone color manipulation in my reviews. And essentially the general idea is that you're squashing your airstream down, or the negative space above or below your airstream. You're squashing it down really flat and wide for that like reedy, like, you know, kind of chocolatey is usually what a lot of people describe it as. But this is kind of like reedy tone color, reedy fat tone color. And then you squash it the other way, tall and thin, to get that really hollow sound. That's kind of technically what you're doing. But in terms of actual practice, there's really nothing better than to play along with recordings. That's when you'll really hear the difference between the way you play and the way the other person plays. And you can kind of like try and mimic them and match them, and you'll kind of like, you'll feel out what you're doing in your mouth. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, you'll try it, Miguel? Excellent. All right, guys, I need to go because I need to pop on to Twitch very soon. So in 8 minutes, I will be live on Twitch. I will be doing a practice session there. So I am currently practicing the second movement of the E-Bear. I'm doing it from memory. Today, I believe what we're doing is drilling the beginning of it a few times because that's where all my brain farts are happening. So if you guys want to catch me doing that, head on over to twitch.tv/justanotherflautist, okay? Just another FLAUTIST, okay? You're probably wondering, well, why did you choose that one and not Just Another Flutist? It's because I can't get back into Just Another Flutist. Yeah, I lost the password, and actually I had the password from before it was bought by Twitch. It was with justin.tv back in the way back when. So head on over there to join me. Otherwise, stay happy, healthy, and safe, all right? I love you guys so very, very much. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this tea. I might finish it at the beginning of the stream over on Twitch. So, all right, if I don't see you on Twitch, I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.